It happens all the time. You go to the store, you buy the latest, greatest cell phone with all the bells and whistles, then you get home and you try to load on your My Humps ringtone. I know you're very excited, maybe some chameleonaire. And you realize that your carrier has you locked out. They want you to pay for the extra features that your phone already has. What's going on? Let's get into it, folks, in The Loop. Now, before the break, we asked you, did you know that most wireless carriers actually cripple cell phone features? Well, 55% of our viewers are actually aware of it. Almost half of you had no idea. Shocking. Joining us via satellite to help us make sense of it all from Los Angeles, analyst of wireless practice for Compete Incorporated, Adam Guy from San Francisco, our resident tech expert, Will O'Neill, and also from the City of Angels, Senior Director of Marketing for Amped Mobile, Dave Sipnewski. Gentlemen, welcome to The Loop. Will, I want to start with you here because apparently, this is shocking, 45% of our audience, these are the tech-savvy kids. They have no idea that carriers are crippling their cell phones. So is this practice actually existing? Are they doing this, or are we all crazy?
Kevin, you're actually not crazy about this. They actually are doing it. They cripple a lot of the capabilities of certain models. Like, for instance, like a cell phone might have Bluetooth, and you can't use the Bluetooth to transfer data. You can only use the Bluetooth for a headset or for a car kit, things like that. So yeah, they cripple a lot of the stuff in it.
So these are features that should be inherently built into the phone because Bluetooth supports them, and yet they're taking them out because they don't want you to use them for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, we know what the reason is.
Well, actually, I want to make sure, and maybe it's an obvious question. Adam, what is the reason? Why are major carriers doing this?
Well, first of all, I don't think crippling is the right word. It's important to recognize that these are businesses. These carriers spend a lot of money building their networks, and most of the time they're heavily subsidizing the phone. So I don't think it's too much to ask for their customers who are getting, in a lot of cases, a free phone that the carrier may be spending several $100s to distribute to use their service so that they can extract a return on the investment that they're making. But the other thing that carriers are really trying to do, it's about the money, but it's also about controlling and guaranteeing the user experience. So Verizon Wireless, for example, promises a certain user experience that it can't necessarily fulfill if every gadget hound is doing...
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That's like buying a laptop computer with an operating system and you know that it's hobbled because they want to be able to sell you more stuff. I mean, no one expects to buy a laptop that can do all these 10 things and Dell disables 5 things. That's
right. Well, the difference,
totally unacceptable.
Well, the difference is that when you buy a laptop, you're buying it from a manufacturer, and then you may be getting internet service or some other service from another provider. You're buying a phone from a carrier. You're also getting service from the carrier. So when the service doesn't work or the phone doesn't work, who do you call? Ask your watchers. Ask the viewers, and more importantly, ask the average Joe consumer who makes their phone. 9 times out of 10, they don't even know. They think they have a Verizon Wireless phone or a single phone.
For those of us who do know, for those of us know that we go out, we're spending $500 on a phone, we think it has Bluetooth, we get it home, those features don't exist. Is that fair? We're still paying for the service.
$100 a month is $1,200 a year.
But
they're getting enough money out of us.
The Bluetooth still does work. And we at AMP, I can't speak for the other carriers why they turn off the Bluetooth. The Bluetooth on our phones is turned off for file transferring because a lot of what happens is we have restrictions from our music labels, from our content providers, that we can't protect the rights of the content provider and ensure that we're not actually cheating them out of their revenue stream.
Now, see, that's a good point. You download a ringtone, you pay for that, and I want to send it to my buddy. He obviously didn't pay for that. Can't you DRM or other words, protect your content that you're selling and leave me, the end user, free to use my own content on my phone?
See, that's the beauty of a provider like AMP. That's why there's MVNOs popping up all over the place, because they can make a business case out of providing a very specific user experience to a target audience. The problem with the big carriers is they're serving tens of millions of consumers, and they can't necessarily make an environment where they can cater to every specific need. So I'm sorry, man. I mean, I don't like it either, but the big carriers are developing an environment for the lowest common denominator, and the way that they're able to make money for their shareholders, and it's important to remember that they're businesses who have to answer to shareholders, is by exerting some control over the experience. The day that it makes business sense to allow you to do whatever you want to your cell phone, that's the day the carriers will do it. That's why they wound up back in local number portability. That's why they're starting to allow folks to purchase content outside of the walled garden.
True, but now in order to cater to that lowest common denominator, I understand why they're doing that. Do they have to eliminate the highest common denominator, perhaps that tech expert who does know how to get wallpapers?
They don't have to eliminate it, but somebody's going to have to pay for it, right? If they do allow it, they're going to get called. I mean, these calls to care cost a lot. I spend an hour on the phone with some engineer helping to troubleshoot and reinstall everything on my smartphone or my multimedia phone.
But that's not the consumer's problem. I mean, that's not my problem as a consumer.
Let's
It's
talk
the
about the
carrier's
consumer
problem.
here. Will, who should the consumer actually be mad at if they do want to get angry? Is it the carrier's fault for ordering phones from manufacturers with certain features disabled, or is it the cell phone manufacturer's fault for delivering a crippled or disabled phone?
I totally blame the carrier. I totally blame the carrier on this. Like, let's say if you get a smartphone, like a Windows mobile-based smartphone, you can download DRM content, MP3s, WMAs. I actually use Windows mobile smartphone and Rhapsody to Go, which is DRM, and I use it as like an iPod, like as an MP3 player. I can actually do these things with it. I can buy a CD, I can rip it, I can copy these songs onto my smartphone and listen to it. And it's a singular phone. I can do that.
All right, so
and that's awesome.
All right, well that's great.
And
but
you're an example of an educated consumer who's taking advantage and doing the research in the marketplace. And that's really, we at AMP, we're big advocates of supporting what the consumer end experience is like. And that's why we're going out and trying to open up our platform to allow people to customize and transfer over their files. Unfortunately, Bluetooth being an issue that affects other parts of the handset, you can tether up to your PC and transfer all your audio files over and listen to it just like an iPod.
Well, see, now let's assume that there's other people out there like Will who are savvy enough to get that content on the phone. Who's the biggest offender, Will? Is there a red flag for a particular company that we should stay away from?
Well, if you're a hardcore person, and you want to be able to do these things, I would probably stay away from the big ones that we're talking about. Mainly Verizon and Sprint are the ones that I think actually commit these crimes mostly. But Kevin, think about it. You use a Sprint phone, and you're capable of doing all this high-end stuff, yet you still use a Sprint phone. I think that what we as consumers can do is go to companies that let us do this stuff. If you're a hardcore high-tech guy, go to Singular because they have a phone that you can do tons of stuff with.
But with Singular, you're defending Singular, but at the same time, they're gating your experience as well. They have an iPod phone that limits the number of tracks you can put on it, not because of memory issues.
And I don't use that phone.
So we did invite Verizon, and we talked to all the major carriers. I don't want to feel like we're pigeonholing one company, but we did specifically speak with Verizon, and they gave us a statement, and I wanted to read it here because I thought it was pretty interesting. Verizon Wireless, this is according to them, quote, works with manufacturers to design phones for customers choosing the Verizon Wireless network. Other carriers make different decisions. And I think that's really important. And Adam, I want to go to you about this one because, yes, they're saying, hey, look, we have a 53 some odd million customers. They're choosing us. They're choosing Verizon. But do you believe they're choosing Verizon because of the fact that the experience might be crippled or tailored or the same for everybody? Or do you think if they knew that certain features were locked down in advance that they would actually go pay $500 for a phone on another network?
Well, so they wouldn't pay $500 on a phone. A lot of people, most gross ads get free phones and very low-cost phones because the carriers are subsidizing them. So the mass market population wouldn't care, right? They're going to subscribe to the service where they think they're going to get the best network quality, the ability to talk to the majority of their friends and family. That's why people choose Verizon Wireless. It's for voice. I mean, 90% of their service revenues are still voice. So they're just making a business decision. So I don't think anybody has a right.
Which kind of begs the question, why not let us do it then if it's not that big of a deal?
I'm not saying it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to the mass market consumer.
Right. It's not a big deal to the mass market, but too bad for the guy who does get that phone and brings it home and wants it.
But at the same time,
but that guy's got nothing to be mad about. That guy should just go out in the marketplace with his wallet and find an alternative service provider, Amp Mobile or somebody else, who will allow that person to do the things that are really important.
All right, very good point. Gentlemen, I want to thank you all, Adam, Will, and Dave. We really appreciate it. Some good info there. That's how you get kept in the loop.